Hello everyone, welcome to another video lesson, and in this video we will discuss about permutations. Alright, so when we say permutation, it is a mathematical technique that determines the number of possible arrangements in a set when the order of the arrangements matters. Alright, so for example, gagawa kayo ng password sa phone nyo and you will use 3-letter for your password. And for example, yung naisip nyong letter na gagamitin is R, I, and O. Okay? So, itong R, I, and O ay mayroong different arrangement na pwede nating magawa kapag mag-iisip tayo ng password. So, for example, yung first letter natin is R, I, O, and yung second letters are, for the first letter R, we have I-O, third letter O-I, and the possible password na pwede nating magawa is R-I-O or R-O-I. And for the first letter I naman, we can use the second letter R-O, for third letter O-R, and ito yung mga possible arrangement na pwede nating magamit, which are IRO, IOR, OIR, and ORI. So that's the idea of the permutations, okay? The arrangement of an object. All right, so we will use factorial notation in finding the permutation or the arrangement of an object. So the factorial notation is a function that multiplies every number by the number below it. Okay? So for example, we have 3 factorial. Ang gagawin lang natin is i-multiply natin yung number below it. Okay? So for example, we have 3. Ano yung mababang number sa kanya? We have 2 and 1. So we will just multiply the 3 numbers, 3 times 2 times 1, and that is equal to 6. Another example, we have 6 factorial. Same thing. We have to multiply 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we have 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 and times 1. And that is equal to 720. Next example, we have 8 factorial divided by 4 factorial. So we will just expand that. We have 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 factorial, and we can cancel 4 factorial from the numerator and denominator. Now, ang kailangan na lang nating i-multiply is 8 times 7 times 6 times 5. And that is equal to 1,680. Right? So, try. We have 7 factorial. We will just multiply 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, and that is equal to 5,040. Okay, so we have 12 factorial over 9 factorial. Expand lang natin yung nasa numerator, 12 times 11 times 10 times 9, and we can stop sa 9 factorial. Since pwede nating i-cancel yung nasa numerator and denominator na 9 factorial. And i-multiply na lang natin yung 12 times 11 times 10, and that is equal to 1,320. Now, we have linear permutation. What is linear permutation? Okay, when we say linear permutation, it refers to the number of ordered arrangements of objects in a line or in a row. Okay, so dito sa linear permutation, we have two different types. First is the linear permutation taken n at a time, and yung isa is taken r at a time. Okay, so the total number of arrangements of objects taken n at a time is denoted by npn is equal to n factorial. So dito sa taken n at a time, it is just simply means kukunin natin lahat ng objects and i-multiply natin siya. Okay? So we have examples here. 3P3 are the permutations of 3 taken 3 at a time. we will just multiply 3 factorial. So that is 3 times 2 times 1, and that's equal to 6. Another example, 10 P10, or the permutations of 10 taken 10 at a time. That is equal to 3,628,800. And 4 permutations of 5 taken 5 at a time, we will just multiply 5 factorial, and that is equal to 120. And 9P9, 9 factorial is equal to 362,880. But take note, mas okay kung i-expand nyo muna yung 9 factorial or kahit anong number na given dyan para mas magandang may solutions tayo. Right? So suppose it is your birthday and you have invited 5 of your friends and you want to take a photo with them in a photo booth arranged in different positions in a single row. Okay, so in how many ways you can do this? Okay, so we have various worded problem about permutations. So we will just identify kung alin ba yung given na objects natin. So we have 5 of your friends. So ibig sabihin kasama ka. Ibig sabihin 6 kayo na magsasama-sama sa pictures. Now, ilang different position kaya ang magagawa nyo sa single row? Okay, so first position, so we have 6 position. So, ang gagawin lang natin is we will just multiply 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, and that is 720. Okay, so ibig sabihin you have 720 ways or positions na magagawa in a single row. Okay? Now, we have the linear permutations taken R at a time. Okay, suppose the 3 of you will take the photo booth at a time. How many ways you can do it? Okay, so ibig sabihin 3 lang. So we have 1 or the first position, second, and third position. We have 6 times 5 times 4. And that is equal to 120 ways. Now, kung maitatanong nyo, paano ba nangyari yung solution na yon? So, this is the formula in permutations of n taken r at a time. So, we have npr is equal to n factorial over the quantity of n minus r factorial. Okay, ang gagawin nyo is isusubtract nyo muna sa denominator yung tatlo sa total number. So we have 6 minus 3, and that is equal to 3. And then you will divide or cancel out 3 factorial from the numerator and the denominator. Kaya natira na lang si 6 times 5 times 4. Okay? And then if you multiply that, that is equal to 120 ways. Okay, how many permutations can be made for 5 different books on a shelf that can accommodate exactly these 5 books? Okay, so ibig sabihin lahat nakuha. Okay? Lahat ma-accommodate yung 5 books. So ang gagamitin nating formula is yung taken n at a time. So we have npn is equal to n factorial. So we have 5p5 is equal to 5 factorial. And then if you expand that, that is equal to 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, and that is equal to 120 ways. Another problem. How many different ways can 7 students be seated for a groupie if only 4 are available? Now dito, 4 lang yung available sa groupie. Okay? So ang gagawin natin, we will use the permutations of n taken r at a time. So we have n is equal to 7 and r is equal to 4. So we have npr is equal to n factorial all over the quantity of n minus r factorial. So that's the formula. And then, i-substitute lang natin lahat ng given for n and r. So we have 7 factorial over the quantity of 7 minus 4 factorial. 7 minus 4 is equal to 3. And then, we have 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 factorial. And then we can cancel out from the numerator and denominator the 3 factorial. And then we will just multiply 7 times 6 times 5 times 4, and that is equal to 840 ways. Next example. At the parade of ceremony for newly appointed officer cadets of the National Armed Forces, we have 2 Army officers, 3 Navy officers, and 4 civil defense officers are asked to take a group photograph. In how many ways can the photograph be taken if the officers are stand in a row, B, in a row so that 2 army officers are next to each other, C, in a row so that the 4 civil defense officers are at the end of the row. Now, unahin natin yung in a row. So for the formula, we have 2 army officers, 3 navy officers, and 4 civil defense officers. So kapag in-add natin sila, we have 9 officers. So we will use the formula npn is equal to n factorial, and then we will just multiply 9 factorial. Okay, and 9 factorial is equal to 362,880. Okay, so we have 362,880 positions in a row. Now, letter B, in a row so that the 2 army officers are next to each other. So ang gagamitin natin, since nabawas si 2 army officers, so we have only 7 officers. So that is 7p7 is equal to 7 factorial, and that is equal to 5,040 weights. So yung 2 army officers naman, we have 2 factorial, and that is equal to 2 weights. And then ang gagawin natin, since yung 2 army are next to each other, so ang gagawin natin yung 7 officers and yung 2 officers is i-multiply lang natin. So we have 7 factorial times 2 factorial. For 7 factorial, we have 5,040, and for 2 factorial, we have 2. And then we will multiply for 5,040 times 2, and that is equal to 10,080 weights. Letter C, in a row so that the 4 civil defense officers are at the end of the row. So ang gagawin natin, isusubtract muna natin si 4 civil defense officers sa total number of officers, and that is equal to 5 officers. So we have 5 factorial, and that is equal to 120 ways. And yung 4 civil defense officers naman, we have 4 factorial, and that is equal to 24 ways. So ang gagawin ulit natin is i-multiply natin yung 5 factorial and 4 factorial, and that is equal to 120 times 24 equals 2,880 ways. Now, we define 0 factorial equals 1. So the formula NPR is equal to n factorial all over the quantity n minus r factorial holds true for r is equal to n. Now, here's the proof kung bakit naging equal si 0 factorial and 1. So we have 9 factorial is equal to n times the quantity of n minus 1 factorial. Now, for example, yung n natin is 1. So we have 1 factorial that is equal to 1 times the quantity of 1 minus 1. So 1 minus 1 is 0. So we have 1 factorial equals 1 times 0 factorial. And 1 times 0 factorial is equal to 0 factorial. So ibig sabihin, yung 1 factorial is equal to 0 factorial. All right, so the permutations is an arrangement of objects taken either all of the time or all at a time or a few at a time where order is important. So sa permutation natin, sabi ko nga kanina meron tayong dalawang types. Una is yung kinukuha natin lahat ng objects and yung pangalawa is yung few of the objects lang yung kinukuha natin. Okay, so we have the linear permutation is an ordered arrangement of objects in a line. Okay, so a quick review. The permutations of objects taken all at a time is given by npn is equal to n factorial. Okay, pag taken all at a time, n factorial yung formula natin. And for taken few at a time, ang gagamitin naman natin is npn or npr is equal to n factorial over the quantity of n minus r factorial. Right? So we have different exercises here. You can answer this on your paper on your own. And then let's see if you got the correct answer. Okay. So I will show the solutions. Ipa-flash ko na lang para ma-check niyo yung mga gawa niyo. All right, and that is it for our video lesson. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.